Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna play another Jujutsu Kaisen Sim, or otome. This one for Sukuna. It's Beauty in the Beast. Let's begin. Okay, chase them. Okay. Everything would have been different if you hadn't found the woman that day. Your sandals slap softly against the temple stone paths as you run. Your breath quick and light. You're searching for the perfect hiding place, somewhere that others won't think to look. The late afternoon air hangs heavy, humming with the songs of casetas and the faint murmur of prayers echoing from the temple halls. You round the corner and spot one of the smaller entrances. It's stone stairs, hidden beneath overgrown weeds. No one will find you there. Probably because no one uses it that much. But just as you step forward, you freeze. Something is there. At the edge of the stairs, a shape slumps against the stone. Hunched and still, the shadows stretch along it. The dimming light painting jagged edges around it. Your chest tightens. The memory of the attack rushes in an instant. The twisted forms, their growing eyes, the way their claws tore through the temple walls like paper. Your stomach churns at as you stand frozen, staring at the figure. It isn't moving, but it is there, undeniable. You clench your fist, force yourself to remember the high priestess's words. Deep breaths, stay calm. This creature can smell fear. Walk closer. I'll just go. I'm not gonna do this attack. I might need to see who it is. Game over. You squirt at the figure and you creep forward, your pulse pounding in your ears. But as the light shifts and the shadows fall away, you see it. It's a monster. It's a woman. Her figure leans heavily in a tall, tattered bamboo basket, her bony frame trembling as she fights to stay upright. The sweat drips from her brow, glistening against her ashen skin. Tangled hair clings to her face, which is pale and hollow, like a mask stretched too tight. Miss, are you right? Your voice wavers as you speak, and you take a cautious step closer. She doesn't respond. Instead, her shoulders shudder with a rasping breath. The smell hits you then. Coppery, sharp and sour. Blood and sickness. The odor clings to her like the sick chambers of the temple, the place your family stayed. So she's bleeding. The memories of the pale face and dying breaths rush back, and your stomach twists. You step closer despite the knot forming in your chest. Suddenly, her hand shoots out and grabs your leg. You yelp and try to pull away, but her strength surprises you. Her fingers clap tightly, their grip hard and bony, like a gargled branch of a tree. You raise your arm instinctively, ready to defend yourself. The leaves above rustling as a trees sway. Then you see her eyes and stop mid-motion. They aren't filled with mist. Instead, they are wide, pleading, glimmering with desperation. Please. Her voice scrapes against her throat, the sound raw and weak. Take my son with you. Her free hand pushes the basket towards you, her entire body shaking with effort. The basket wobbles slightly, almost tripping over as it lands at your feet. You glance at it, then back at her. Protect him. The words send a chill for you, rooting you in place. You crouch next to the basket, your movement slow and hesitant. The faint sound of breathing met your ears, soft, fragile alive. Oh, I get the dog was a kid. Okay. Her grip on your leg tightens briefly, her fingers trembling against your skin. Promise me you're going to protect him. You look at her again, at the way her body sags under its own weight. I promise. The words spill out before you realize it, shaky and unsure. A strange warmth sprouts from her palm, pressed against your leg, snarking up light until it blooms in your chest and rushes to your head. The tension in her face eases slowly. Her hand falls away from your leg, her arm dropping limply to her side. Thank you. Her shoulders slump, and her head bows as if the weight of her own body is too much to bear. She stays like that for a moment, breathing deeply. Then, with great effort, she pushes herself upright. She staggers towards a tree, leaning heavily on the trunks for support. Each step seems to drain her further. At the edge of the clearing, she stops. She turns, casting one glance towards the basket. Then, with a sharky breath, she vanishes into the woods. Oh, she just abandoned him. Okay. I thought she was just gonna die. You look back at the basket, your heart still hammering. Slowly, you open it. The two pairs of glowing red eyes stare back at you. They blink, frayed by a pale, delicate face. The boy inside is small, his fragile body swaddled in a warm cloth, but his face, his eyes look like the bark of an ancient tree, twisted and uneven, as if shapen by a storm. It's strange in a way. It's beautiful. Did we just stop Sukuna? The boy doesn't make a noise, but it could feel it. A warmth, fragile and faint, reaching out from him to you. You feel your lips twitch, a smile. You have a new friend. In the dream clings to you, swirling around your thoughts like a stubborn mist long after you're awake. The promise you made to that woman still burns in your chest, a restless gall that refuses to settle. It's worse now, sharper, heavier, as if she knows you've broken your word. Wait, did I break my word? What happened to Sukuna? As if in your dreams she summons the wind of her despair to remind you of the vow you shattered. What I do? At the time, you didn't know it was a binding vow. Breaking it was like fracturing a piece of a fate itself. But now the vow is broken and disaster waits for you. Like a storm gathering in the horizon, it may not strike today or tomorrow, but it's there, inevitable. Inevitable. You can feel it hanging over you, whispering through every breath of wind. You shake your head, pushing the thoughts away. Disaster will come whenever you want it or not, so there's no point in worrying about it. You keep walking through the ruins of the city. The air feels wrong, too still, heavy with the weight of destruction. Sukuna, what did you do? You always preferred exorcising curses in the capital for practically sake. But the payment this time was too tempting to refuse. Now standing amidst the remnants of what was once a village, the truth behind the gossip reaches with you, shrilling clarity. Whispers of the entire village is wiped out, with no survivors left to tell the tale. This is definitely Sukuna. It isn't just distraction; it's devastation. Whoever is behind this didn't simply attack. It ribbled. You exhale deeply, the wind shifting around you, trying to sense something, anything that might lead you closer to the source. You need more clues. So what should we check? We should check the bodies. The corpses lie scattered. The wounds too clean, too sharp. Like they sliced by a blade, honed by perfection. The curse energy lingering here is thick, hanging in the air like a storm waiting to be break. A normal person might believe this was the work of nature, a storm's fury, or a tornado's wrath. A tornado won't be in Japan, would it? I mean, but you're a sorcerer, you know better. The devastation carries intent, a purpose that no natural disaster possesses. This wasn't a curse eater, someone did this. You close your legs, laying in the air, shift around you, searching for the trails of destruction. The faint trace of curse energy tugs at you like a faint breeze pulling you south. If the other villagers are anything to go by, whoever did this isn't going to stop. The villages. You push off the ground and leap into the air. The one catches you like an old friend, lifting you higher. From above, oh my God, Sun Wukong right here. From above, a scale of destruction comes into view, a jagged scar stretching south, cutting through the landscape. Your eyes narrow. You interpret them. You have to. Your payment depends on it. The wind shifts again, warm and gentle this time, like a memory brushing against your skin. It fills your mind, carrying you backward to a moment you can or. You glance at the little paper figure in your hand, the one you just dug out of the earth. Dirt clings to its legs, but it's impossible to mask the shape. Its four arms giving way intensely. It's obvious who it's supposed to be. Sukuna. The name is Ryomen Sukuna. It's scrawled across the surface. The ink, smudged but still visible beneath the streaks of the dirt. Your jaw tightens. Don't worry, friend. As long as I'm here, I'll purify all their curses. Your voice is firm, but your hands are gentle as you hold the fragile paper figure. Beside you, your friend stands slightly. His figure's tall and unmoving near the riverbank. He never speaks. You don't know if he can, or if he simply won't. Either way, his silence never bothered you. It does, however, bother others. Even now, you could hear their cruel words in your mind, the way adults and children alike hurl curses at him just for how he looks. His four crimson eyes, his twisted features, they see a monster in him, but you don't. So it is Sukuna. Like I wrote this great Sukuna. He doesn't react at all. He never does. He doesn't flinch when they shout, doesn't speak when they whisper behind his back. His stillness has always felt heavier than words, like a quiet wind that carries the weight of the storms. You whisper a prayer under your breath and toss the paper figure into the river. It hits the surface with a soft plop and begins drifting downstream, spinning lazily in the current. You lost track of how many of these paper figures. Okay, that's kind of misspelled. You purified since your friend came into your life. All you know is that you're doing what his mother asked, protecting him as best you can, even if it means fighting. The High Priestess has scolded you more times than you can count for using violence to defend him, but you don't care. You fight them all over again if you had to. When your curse technique develops, we'll show them. The monk says cursed techniques awaken between 5 and 6 years old. Your friend is already taller than you, just slightly, but it won't be long now. You glance at him, expecting some sort of reaction, but he's still staring at the paper figure as it drifts further and further away. His four crimson eyes follow its form with intensity. You came to recognize a quiet, thoughtful, maybe even that sad. Hey, don't believe them, friend. You're not the demon, Ryomen Sukuna. Sukuna. Wait, my friend isn't Sukuna? I thought it was Sukuna. The words are soft but firm. You tilt your head, searching for his gaze. He doesn't look at you. I don't know what your real name is, but I bet it's beautiful. At that, he finally turns to you, his expression skeptical. That look, a mix of doubt and quiet amusement, is one that you've seen before, and you don't like it. He doesn't believe you. Okay, comment on his eyes, comment on his arms. Okay, comment on his eyes. I bet it's beautiful, just like your eyes, all of them, I mean. His eyes widen in surprise, and for a moment he looks almost startled. Then quickly he glances away and starts walking towards the temple. But you catch it, the faint curl of his lips as he moves. It's the first time you see him smile. You have to compliment him more. Yay. I will. Smoke fills the air, quick and suffocating, rising in spirals from the burning village below. The acidy scent of charred wood and iron strains your nose, and your stomach knots. You arrived just in time, or so you hoped. As you descend, the one carrying you, the sound of destruction grew louder. Cries for help pierced the chaos, mingling with the growing collapse of wood beams and the distant, sharp crackle of flames. Your pulse quickens as you follow this noise. A group of villagers cower below the collapsing building. Without hesitation, you summon the wind, a sharp gust slicing the debris into harmless fragments. The villagers stare at you in disbelief. They then bow deeply, murmuring their thanks over and over. One woman steps forward, grabbing your hand with trembling hands. Her palms are sticky with blood, and her wide, tear-filled eyes search yours desperately. Thank you so much. No need to thank me. Did you see who's causing this? The disgraced one. Ryomen Sukuna. Sukuna! Yay! We're finally gonna see Sukuna. Your heart strikes a beat. The name ring in your ears like a death knell. Ryomen Sukuna. Your chest tightens as the name echoes in your mind. It can't be the demon, but if it isn't, don't go there. He'll kill you like he did with all the others, or worse, eat you. The woman trembling, her hand grips yours for a moment longer, as if trying to share what little strength she had left. Then, with a leering glance, she releases you and hurries after the others. You're barely dressed or leaving. The name Ryomen Sukuna repeats in your mind over and over like a restless drum beat. You turn to walk straight into the village's heart. Yay. The cursed energy hits you first. It's not just heavy, it's oppressive, suffocating. The drug against your chest. It drags you against your chest. Slowly you step and rattle something deep inside you. Then you see him. At the center of destruction, standing tall like a god of death in a towering figure. He's shirtless, his pale skin marred with criminal tattoos that seem withered, or seem to riddle with life. Forearms, all cord with muscles move, and visible slashes cut through the village. The devastation is immediate. Houses split into two, their clean edges surreal against the chaos. Screams are severed mid-breath, leaving behind a chilling silence. Your breath catches a sharp intake that feels like a dagger in your chest. Time seems to flatter. You stare at the boy you once knew, and yet he's nothing like him. The past rushes back, unbidden. You search for your friend everywhere. He wasn't in the temple. The high priestess told you a noble had taken him away to be his servant. I'm fighting that high priestess. You scream his name, forcing the wind to carry your voice through the trees, through the mountains, but no answer ever came. Days bored into weeks, weeks into years, and you thought you'd never see him again. Until now. It's him, unmistakable, but the boy you knew is gone, replaced by the force of destruction, devastation, everything in his path. He's the one you've been sent to exorcise for. Your legs moving on their own, one step, then they're dragged forward despite the storm of emotions churning in your stomach. Relief, horror, anger, longing, and something sharp, metallic, that makes your pulse race. Before you could stop yourself, the word escapes your lips, trembling and fragile. Friend. He stops slowly, he turns, his movements almost deliberate. Sukuna, his four eyes lock into yours, rooting you to the spot. They're the same eyes you remember, but now they're coldless and numb. Sharp and cruel. Oh, I still think he looks good. For a moment, there's no recognition in his gaze, then a slow smirk spreads across his face, sharp and mocking. Friend, who do you think you're talking to, worm? His voice is slow, laced with mockery, but there's a hint of something else beneath the surface. Don't you remember me? It's me, from the temple? It has been so long. The smirk widens, his gaze hovers over you, deliberate and heavy, and you feel the weight of his scrutiny like a physical touch. He's smirking. I never had any friends. The words hit you harder than the stretching around you. But you don't back down. What happened to you? Why are you doing this? Because I enjoy it. That boy, my friend, he wouldn't do this. He laughs and sharp, cutting through the air like one of his invisible slashes. Oh, his mouth is right here. Then you never knew me. His arms move with fluid precision and more slashes tear through the village. People fall mid-sprint, their bodies collapsing in pieces. You flinch, the sound of their cries hitting you like a blow. No! The words burst from you, raw and desperate. Your friend wouldn't do this. Another slash. Stop! He wouldn't. Another slash. He raises his arms again. Your voice catches your throat. Drowning beneath the weight of despair. With every source of strength, you force it out, shouting his name, the identical identity he chose for himself. Ryomen Sukuna. Sukuna stopped slowly. He turned, a smirk creeping across his face. Oh, so you know how to address someone by name. In a bore, he collapses in distance between you. His clawed hand catches your wrist. The heat of his curse, energy burning against your skin. You gasp, the pain in the weight of his grip, stealing your breath. Call yourself my friend. Let's see how far you go to stop me. That's what you came here to do, right? Like all the others. Nah, decide not to anymore. He yanks you forward, and you stumble. You feel a free hand colliding with the firm, scorching plane of his torso, just above the mouth of his stomach. His skin radiates heat beneath your palm. The tattoos seeming to ripple with lively art as his muscles tighten. For a moment, everything else, the stretching, the screams, the chaos fades away. All you can feel is the overwhelming heat of him, the raw power radiating from his body. You don't want to fight him. You need to promise something must have happened to turn him into like this, but you can't learn what. I don't want to fight you. Then don't. This makes things more interesting. Desperation fuels you. With a sharp gesture, you summon your wind, stealing the breath from his lungs. The air through him churns and suffocating, pressing down like a visible weight. He falters, his chest heaving as his muscles tense against the strain. And for the first time, you see his composure crack. You've gotten stronger, but you're still human. Your voice is steady, and your body screams and protests. You know you can't keep this up forever, but you can hold him long enough. Just maybe, long enough, just maybe, he'll pass out. Then the rest of the villagers can flee. His crimson eyes narrow, burning with fury. Like a flicker of his wrist, a slash cuts through the stillness, sharing your control over the air. The force sends you trembling, your technique unraveling, and he steps free from your trap. Do you think this is what the human looks like? Yes. Your voice is steady, but your conviction seems to strike a nerve. His expression darkens, and to something flares in his eyes, anger, perhaps, or even deeper. Well, I hope he doesn't kill me this time. This is the first time. He moves in the bore faster than you could track, forcing you to rely on your instinct alone. The wind slicing through the air, crashing into debris and tearing apart what remained of the village, but none of it touches him. Sukuna flows for your attack, with infuriating ease. Each motion deliberate, like he's dancing around your desperation, and then he vanishes. The world stills for a heartbeat. Your breath hitches as you whip around, searching the wind, whipping around you in a defensive fury. Too slow. The deep voice murmurs, warm against your ear. A wave of heat floods for you, sharp, shameful, and electric. You spin, but he strikes, sending you crashing into the ground. Pain radiates from your body as your vision blurs. Sukuna looms over you, his claws are raised, ready to strike. You don't move, his hand hovering above your neck, and then you feel the heat against your skin. This is it. This is the punishment you've been waiting for, the disaster that for breaking the vow. It failed him. You promised his mother you would protect him, to keep him safe from harm. Instead, he became this. And now, as his hands inch closer, you feel the weight of that failure crushing you. You close your eyes. It's fitting, isn't it, that the one who you failed is the one to end you, to bring your disaster. But the blow never comes. Your breath catches as silence stretches between you. Slowly you open your eyes and see his hand trembling ever so slightly. Oh, he's like, no, I'm not gonna hurt you this time. His claws curl into a fist, the cursed energy flickering out. His steps back, expression unreadable. You're pathetic. The words are sharp, but his voice carries the edge of something else. He turns away. He steps deliberate, and disappears in the ruins, leaving you behind. Your knees buckle, and you collapse to the ground, the weight of his absence heavier than anything else. Sukuna sharpens his trident, the blade scraping against the wheat stone with a deliberate grating sound. The sparks flicker and die in the metal edge, glints in the dim light. The motion is unhurried, almost meditative. His focus entirely in the deadly precision of the weapon. Soft footsteps echo faintly in the room, barely audible, over the rhythmic escape. He doesn't look up. Master Sukuna, I placed her in the room as you requested. A slow hum escapes him, almost an acknowledgement, then reply. More acknowledgement than reply. His hands never stop their work. I can't pronounce the name. The Urumi lingers. Their tone is measured and calm as ever. Do you want me to cook her later, or are you keeping her as a pet? That makes him pause. The corner of his mouth curls upward, and the dry chuckle rumbles in his chest. They always sound so serious, even when asking something so absurd. I'll keep her as a pet for now. He assumes sharpening the trident, the sound slicing through the air, like a extension of his intent. Prepare dinner for her as well. They bow slightly, their voice smooth and obedient. As you wish, master. Without another word, they leave, their steps fading into the corridor. The silence that follows feels heavier, pressing in around him. Sukuna sets the wheatstone down and inspects the blade, its crimson eyes narrowing as the laser-sharp edge reflects on the surface of its warped, fractured, just like the thoughts twisting his mind. You should have killed that woman, the thought crawled at him, like an itch he can't scratch. He had imagined their reunion countless of times. In every scenario, it always ended up with her death, clean, final. She was the last thread tying him to the past he long since severed. A teeter he's been trying to rip apart for years. A terror he's been trying to rip apart for years. The moment she saw him, when her eyes widened and her lips parted to call him friend, he should have ended it. But he didn't. She looked at him like she still sees something else, not the monster he became, but the boy he never truly was. The memory of her gaze unsettles him. It lingers, burning against his skin like a brand, and he can still hear her voice, soft and defiant, calling out for someone who doesn't exist anymore. Why does it matter? Why does she matter? Sukuna's grip tightens on the trident, the muscles in his forearm ripping beneath his tattoos. She still sees it, he decides. She still acknowledges what he is. He can tear apart every memory she clings to until nothing remains but fear and despair. He'll strip her bare until she no longer denies the truth. Whatever this is, whether she clings to it, it won't last. Pain greets you the moment you wake, sharp and all encompassing. Your whole body feels heavy, bruised, as if even your bones are protesting movement, breaking against the dim light. You take in your surroundings. The room is unfamiliar, kind of bare, quiet, and cold. In the corner, your small travel bag is untouched. Did someone rescue you? Pretty sure I'm with Sukuna right now. The memory hits you like a slap. His face, his claws, hovering above your neck, the weight of his cursed energy pressing down on you. Why did he kill you? The thoughts turn over in your mind, twisting uncomfortably as you drag yourself upright. You stagger to the door, reaching for the handle. But before you can open it, the door slides open, revealing a white-haired monk standing impressively in the doorway. Their face is blank, unreadable. You open your mouth to thank them for helping you, but they speak first, their tone calm and detached. Greens, I'm... Hear me? Master Sukuna requests your presence in the dining room. There lays your lungs, and your lingering hope that you've been saved vanishes instantly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not saved. Though I'm with our love interest, so it doesn't matter. You weren't rescued, you were captured. We both. I've dealt with yanderes. I think I can handle Sukuna. Sukuna's far more dangerous than Peter, but your heart pounds as a monk steps inside, waiting for you to fall. The question claws at your mind. Why? Why would he bring you here? Why would he bring me here? The possibilities are endless, each more horrifying than the last. Does he want to torture you further? Is this the start of something worse? The thoughts twist in your stomach as you follow the monk down a long, quiet corridor. The faint echo of your footsteps mixed with theirs, and the stillness of the place unnerves you. The temple, you recognize it now. The faint smell of incest. Incense. My brain. I don't use that stuff anyway, because I can't breathe around it. The cobblestone underfoot remind you of the one you call home. The monk stood at the door and opens it. Stepping inside once again, the warm air and smell of food hits your nostrils immediately, making your stomach grumble despite yourself. You hesitate at the doorway. Sukuna is already seated in a wooden table, and the tummy floor, legs folded neatly beneath him. A thick button cushion. The cushion, a small, thick cushion, supports his massive frame, but he still seems to dominate the room. Sit. You force yourself to step inside, but remain standing near the table, your hands clinging at your sides. Why did you bring me here? Yeah, I kind of want to know that too. Is there a little piece of you that kind of likes me still? You place a piece of meat in his. He places a piece of meat in his mouth, chewing lazily, then answers without even looking at you. I basically killed you, so your life belongs to me now. You didn't exactly kill me. I'm still alive, Sukuna. You let out you let out a huff. Disbelief overtaking you. Your fear is just for just a moment. What? He meets your gaze with a smirk, his voice smooth and cruel. You can't leave this place, or I'll kill you. You open your mouth in protest, but he cuts you off with a raised hand. But you can leave anytime if you say I'm a monster. Wait, what? Just let me say if I tell you you're a monster, or are you gonna kill me because when I say you're a monster? The words hang in your air. The words hang in the air like a challenge. You stare at him, your mind reeling. He can't be serious, can he? Is this some kind of game to him? This is ridiculous. Then just say it and leave. Your lips press into the firm line. You don't believe he's a monster, at least not entirely. You don't know if you're more stubborn about holding onto your belief or refusing to let him win. Or both. If you're not going to say it, then sit down and eat. You slowly lower yourself onto the cushion, glare at the small tray of food placed in front of you, as if it personally assaulted you. It definitely did. It made fun of my mother. I'm not gonna say it. Say the name. The monk steps forward, their movements deliberate and smooth as they place more small trays around you. The smell of the food is almost overwhelming, and your stomach twists with hunger. You glance at Sukuna, who is calmly continuing his meal, his gaze occasionally flickering towards you. Thankfully, you take a bite. The silence stretches as you eat, but your thoughts swirl. Do you talk to him? Do you ask what happened to him? What turned him into this? Would he even answer? No. Your eyes dart over to the table, and then they stop. Oh, who knows? The large plate of meat sits just out of your reach, positioning almost deliberate. Something about it feels off, like it's meant to catch your attention. You point to the plate. Is that deer? Or did Alistair just pop up and with us? Wrong time period, but who's Alistair? The corners of his mouth curl into a smile, both of them. No. You freeze, staring at the meat, then at him. The monk standing nearby also has a small, amused smile on their face. Don't, dear, don't scream so much. Okay, we definitely just need to fight Alistair. You guys could have a cannibal off. The voice of the old woman from the village echoes in your mind. He'll kill you, or worse, eat you. Your stomach churns violently, and you shove the plate away as you get to your feet, disgust rolling for you. I mean, he's not the first cannibal character I kind of like. Alistair, Alistair's not in a is more platonic way. You. Say it. Nah, sing worse. You bite your lip hard, regaining control over your emotions, trying to spill over. Sing worse. What? I want to sing worse. I have a list of at least one character that's unforgettable. Name Alistair. Is this some sick joke, sick thing of yours, wanting to be called a monster by everyone? His smirk widens as he picks up another piece of meat and eats it slowly. Deliberately. Your stomach launches again, bile rising to your throat. Your gaze drops at the meat in your own bowl. For a moment, fear freckles in the edge of your mind, but you exhale. In quick disbelief, it doesn't look the same. You just refuse to see because you're blinded by your early memories. No, I'm definitely blinded by Hasbin Hotel. He glances another piece of meat from the plate, holding it almost lazily between his claws. You turn sharply, refusing to look at him any longer, and make for the door. Before you could take another step, a deep glash carves through the floor, just in front of your feet, stopping you cold. You can't leave until you finish your food. Now sit. You stand there for a long moment, trembling with rage and disgust, but the oppressive weight of his cursed energy leaves you with no choice. Stiffly, you sit down, and your jaw clenches tight. You eat quickly, refusing to meet his gaze, fury bubbling under your skin with every bite. When you finish, you shove the tray away and stand again. Shuka leans back slightly, his expression one of infuriating amusement. Remember, you can leave any time. The mockery in his tone sets you blood boiling. You could feel their gaze on your back as you leave, their faint smile adding to the humiliation. The door closes behind you, but the lingering sound of his laughter stays with you, digging to your skin. You retrace the path they led you down, your steps echoing faintly in the quiet halls. The temple feels larger now, its dark corridors, and distant shadows pressing down on you with a oppressive weight. As you walk, your eyes catch on something ahead, the front gate of the temple. You stop, your gaze lingering on the tall wood structure. Beyond it lies freedom. You could fly off, let the wind carry you far away from this place, from him. The thought tugs at you, tempting, but your feet stays planted. With a sharp exhale, you shake your head and keep walking. The ache in your heart, your chest deepens with every step, but you don't stop until you've reached the room. You kneel beside your bed and pull out your diary. Its familiar weight grounding you. So much has happened today. So much to hold on to. Your thoughts churn, restless and heavy. Grabbing a bit of water, you do it. Think, Wayne, watching the black swirls and lighten. Then you open your diary, a black page, and begin to write. At first, your words are simple. Fragmentation to the diary. Chaotic memories spilling out. The fight, his voice, his face, his words. But soon, everything narrows to him. Your hand falters, the tip of your brush hovering above the page, trembling. Then the words pour out. Everything you felt that didn't dare say. Confusion, the pain, the awe of seeing him. As an adult, his presence so much larger and sharper than the boy you once knew. You write his name, the name he chose for himself. Maybe you should have given him a name back then, when you were both still children, but you didn't. You wanted him to choose it for himself, and now he has. You just never imagined it would be this. You pour it all into the ink, hoping to trap the chaos of your thoughts, to walk them in the strokes and lines where they didn't follow you. But the ink fails you. At some point, you drift into sleep. The exhaustion of the day pulling you under the leaf is filled of waiting. Your dreams twist and shifting into something darker, something raw. This time, you promise a different kind of ruin. The dream of a tattooed skin, warm, electric against yours, and arms wrapped around you, holding you down, coddling you, pulling you apart. Oh, is he trying to eat me? The heat calls for your body, unbearable, all-consuming, and you shot through the waves. No. You wake in the grass, your skin damp with sweat, your breath unsteady. The dream lingers, searching itself into your thoughts. You don't need to interpret to tell you what it means. It isn't just a bad omen, it's a warning. A warning that you have feelings for him. And yet, despite the unease curling in your chest, you feel no urge to leave. You don't want him to win. It's all it is. You tell yourself that's why you're still here, nothing more. Biting your lip, you pick up your brush and begin to write again. Maybe you'll put the dream to paper and stop haunting you. Maybe you could purge the thoughts crawling in the edges of your mind. These thoughts, their desires, disturb you. They twist something deep inside you. And yet, now they belong to paper. Only the ink will hold them. Only the ink will know. The morning light filters through the temple's halls as Sukuna strides towards his room. His fingers hurried, but his steps unhurried but purposeful. The servant follows silently as he'll. There presents a shadow in his towering figure. He spent the night crafting ways to make her admit the truth, to force her to see him as what he is, a monster. He and his servant, had planned some interesting ideas, each more twisted than the last, and the thought of testing them brings a sharp glint in his clumsy eyes. When he reaches his room, however, it's empty. A flicker of something unpleasant surges through him, coiling in his chest like a snake. Her curse energy lingers faintly in the air. She hasn't gone far, but still. Go look for her. Right away, master. As they disappear into the corner, Sukuna turns to leave, but his gaze lingering in her bag. Carelessly into the corner, a thought crosses his mind, sharp and deliberate. He crouches, his large hands rummaging through the bag, with no hesitation, no care for privacy. His fingers brush against something, a small, worn book. He pulls it out. His fingers gleam with interest. A diary. Oh, he's gonna read the diary and see what we wrote. His grin spreads wide, teeth gleaming with like knives. Her diary. Perfect. His large hand nearly engulfs the book as he flips it open. A part of him expects something tedious, something dull. Then he found fan fiction. Instead, he's struck by the elegance of her calligraphy, the way it flows across the page, like wind dancing over water. For a moment, his oppressed but he quickly shoves the thought aside. He skims through the entries, his eyes scanning lines about her travels. She writes about her work, wandering from village to village, exercising curses like for a living. The words are neat but raw, her emotion carefully folded between the ink strokes. Some poems are scattered among the pages. He pauses briefly. She's not bad at it. Further down, she mentions dreams, a broken vow. His eyes catches on a poem, the words pulling his focus completely. Each step I search for, calling his name to the skies. The wind gave me none, no voice, no face, only loss. My failure haunts each breath. His hand tightens slightly in the page. He grins, falters for the briefest moment. She had been looking for him. A low, unreadable hum escapes his throat. He churns another page, scanning the diary more closely now. Her words dig into him, pulling at things he thought buried. It had been a long time since a piece of writing had made him feel anything, but he has read many of them. The next entries are scattered thoughts about her journey, and the further he reads, the more the tone shifts. Her words became more recent, the ink heavier, darker, and fresher. She writes about finding him at last. The shock, happiness, the dole, the anger, the pain, the anger, and awe. Another poem stops him in his tracks. Oh, this is the... Each eye holds the world. Each arm carries heaven's weight. His beauty strikes me, not for the cruelty or might, but for its unwielding grace. His eyes widen slightly. Wait, she's into me? That's all changed. Beauty? She thinks he's beautiful? Yeah. Read style, Sukuna. Unwanted memories surface, haze but sharp, of her saying similar things to him when they were children. Back then, her words had annoyed him. Her optimism, like a stubborn light he couldn't extinguish. A cruel smile cuts through his face, sharp and deliberate, beautiful. She saw him surrounded by carnage, standing in the ruin of death, and called him beautiful. Come on, Sukuna, let me pour into that. What a twisted mind. He keeps reading, his curiosity sharpened with every page. The poem grows different, more raw, less polished, each one like a wound torn open, her emotions spilling out, desperate to be trapped in ink. His eyes narrowed, catching the unmistakable thread of lust woven into her words. A final poem arrests his attention. It's honestly sharp and cutting. No god could tempt me, only his terrible form. Their eyes, their sharp hands. I would bare my throat to him and let his desire claim. Wait, what? He stares at the lines, letting them settle. The cruel smile spread across his lips, slow and deliberate. Yeah, I'm definitely into Sukuna. She has no idea what she's asking for. He snaps diary out, tossing it onto her bed, and leaving it open where she can find it. I think I know what I'm asking for, but it's not what I'm asking for, but he thinks I'm asking for. Toying with her will be far more entertaining than he thought. They escort you back to your room, their sharp eyes fixed on you. You clutch a small bundle of wild herbs and berries you manage to find, your stomach churning at the thought of eating the food offered in the temple. Master Sukuna won't force you to eat the meat. The words hang in the air, cold and brute. You glance at them, your brow frowning. Why not? He isn't trying to convince you. Isn't he trying to convince you he's a monster? You don't ask the question outright, but the thought got at you. You settle for something simpler. Why does he eat it? They pause for a moment, their gaze flickering over you. Then they reply, their tone detached. It's not my place to ask. Not my place to speak. They give you a brief nod before turning away, leaving you alone. You walk inside the room, and your eyes stop on the bed. Your diary lies there open. The pages flutter slightly, as though moved by a visible wind. Sukuna. He read it. Yeah, he did. Your voice tightens, humid, and rage crashing over you like a wave. The words you wrote, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, they were yours, private, sacred. Well, so these were about him, so he never meant for anyone else's eyes, at least of all his. The heat raises in your cheeks, sharp and unrelenting. The shame came for you like a knife. He knows everything. You can't stand it. Without thinking, you storm out of the room, driven by anger as you can barely contain. You find him training outside. Each motion is deliberate, his muscles ripping with raw power as he moves. Sweat glistening in his skin, tracing down the sharp lines of his tattoos, highlighting each curve and ridge. The sight makes your chest tighten, and you push the thoughts away, steeling yourself as you march forward. You had no right. He stops mid-motion. He's breathing slightly labored. Slowly he turns to face you, his red eyes locking onto yours. There's a brief moment of silence as his gaze sweeps over you, sharp and assessing. You feel a flicker of intimidation, but you force yourself to stand tall, keeping your head high. You had no right to read it. As long as you decide to stay here, I have every right. His voice is calm, laced with amusement, but there's an edge to it that makes your stomach knot. He begins to walk towards you, his step unhurried, deliberate. With each step, his towering presence seems to grow, the heat of his body radiating outward, closing the space between you. Are you upset because I read your little dirty thoughts? The words hit you like a slap, your face heating slightly, your gaze at him, your lips parting to respond, but no words came. The embarrassment burns into the fiercely knotted your throat. Oh, it wasn't dirty. I was thinking about pizza. You laugh. His laugh is sharp, mocking, cutting through the tension. Tell me, did you tremble as you write it as you do now? Were your hands shaking when you put the filth on the paper, or was it just your body craving something it shouldn't have? Well, technically my hands do tremble. Try to tell the truth. For it was just art. Yes, I trembled. Well, technically I do tremble because I have had tremors. Because every time I look at you, I feel something I don't want to feel. And it disgusts me. You laugh low, sharp, and cutting, like the edge of a blade. Disgust. You could call it whatever you want, little one. Lust, desire, filth. Little one, I think I'm older than you, sir, in this game. Dress it up however you like. It doesn't change what it is, and it doesn't make it any less true. He steps closer, forcing you to back up until your shoulder blades hit the temple wall. The air feels heavier, making it harder to think, harder to breathe. The mouth of his stomach twists, the movement drawing your gaze. Its lips curled faintly, its presence unbearably close to your chest. The movement draws your gaze, despite yourself, and a rush of heat floods for you, shame, something darker, twisting in your gut. What was it again? What his desires claim mine? Those were your words, weren't they? So what's stopping you now? That was talking about, that was talking about Gojo. Who's Gojo? Oh yeah, wrong time period. I was talking about Gojo though. His steps closer, his voice dropping in a low, dangerous whisper. Go on, bare your throat, just like you said you would. Or were those just fantasies for the page? Yeah, it was definitely about Gojo. He steps closer still, his space between you non-existent. Instinctively, your hand shot up, pressing against his abdomen in an attempt to stop him. The heat on his skin burns against your palms, the hard planes of his muscles unwielding under your touch. He doesn't move back. Instead, his voice drops lower, so quiet it's almost a growl. Did you write them? Then I'm beautiful. Then worship me. Breath catches. Before you could think, he lowers his hand close around yours, forcing your palms to move against his torso. Slowly, durably, he guides your hands over to the ridge of the curves of his body. The heat under your skin intensifies as your heart pounds so hard you're certain you could hear it. He pushes your hands lower. His grin widened. It's gonna eat my hand. He tried to pull away, your mind screaming at you to stop. His grip is firm, unrelenting. You know what they say if you want to leave. You know what to say if you want to leave. His voice is calm, almost bored, but there's a wicked glint in his eyes that dare you to say the words. ... You shiver, and the breath comes in, hollow gasped. You know the words, but they won't come. You don't want to say them, not because of pride, not because of fear, but because some buried part of you doesn't want this to end. Yeah, I'm definitely into it. The thought terrifies you, but it's undeniable. A desire that friends to consume you entirely. And I know it's gonna eat me if I say he's a monster. The mouth on his stomach shifts, its grotesque lips pulling back to reveal a wet, littering tongue. It flickers out, brushing against your waist. You flinch at the sensation, your breath hitching, but you don't pull away. His gaze narrows slightly, the music in his eyes growing. Look at you! Just a touch, and you're already falling apart. Before you can respond, his arms move. Two of them wrap around your wrist, lifting you effortlessly, while another hooks under your knees. The ease with which he handles you reminds you of how your powers you are against him. The world tilts as he lays back against the wooden floor in the temple. One arm popped on his head as he watches you with lazy movement. Okay, so should I even say it? Your thoughts spread. Okay, so putting his, getting that stomach mouth up to me. The tongue flickers out again, trailing a warm, wet line across the sensitive skin of your skin. No. Say this sentence and I'll stop. But we both know you won't. His tone is calm, almost indifferent, but his smirk tells another story. He knows exactly how far he's pushing you. He's a joy every second. Go ahead and leave or stay. The choice is yours, little one. His tone is casual, dismissive, but you don't miss the glint of curiosity in his crimson eyes. It's as if he's testing you, weighing to see what you can do. You'll do next. You stand, your legs unsteady and resolve, firm. Without a word, you turn to walk towards your room. You don't look back, not at him, not at the smirk you sure is still playing on his lips. Sukuna grabs his weapons. The Ape clan had been boasting about their army of angels, saying they could bring him to his knees. Fools, he'll teach them what happens when they overstep. The thought of their screams excites him, but he's surprised to feel something else. Recurrence. The realization makes him grin, sharp and cruel. His mind drifts to her. At first, he thought her fascination with him was nothing more than curiosity. Her diary hinted at admiration, maybe even attraction, but it couldn't have been all that. He assumed she would flee when faced with the reality of him, but she didn't. Her body trembled, her breath uneven, but she didn't turn away. Even when she's he grinned sharply. He doesn't flinch at his monstrous form, not at his four eyes, not at the mouth that's in his stomach, on his stomach, not the destruction that he leaves behind. She doesn't flee, not even when he places human flesh before her. Instead, she looks at him like something divine. Then there are her poems, beautiful, and she still calls him even now. Beautiful. She still calls him even now. She doesn't feel this. She shouldn't feel this way. She knows she shouldn't be drawn to him, but she is, and that's what makes it so intoxicating. She doesn't tolerate his monstrosity. She desires it, craves it. If she won't leave on her own, then he'll see how far she'll go. Oh. It's like, I see where he's going. Do far worse, sir. Yeah, that's what you're planning on. How much it'll be to corrupt her. The last Fred trying him to what he used to be. The last fragile piece of humanity he hasn't crushed. The thought hums low in his chest, dark and flowing. He doesn't need to prove he's a monster. He just needs to show her how monstrous she could be. Or he could be. The trident hums faintly in his grip, and his grin stretches wide, sharp and feral. He'll teach the Ape clan either their place first, but after, he has something far more entertaining waiting for him. The moment you wake, your body remembers before your mind does. Okay, I'm just going... No need, no matter how much your feelings disgust him, you come crawling back for more. You push the thought away. It clings to you like a shadow, possible escape. Sitting up on the futon, you pull your knees to your chest, trying to steady your breathing. You should hate him. You want to hate him. He tore through your defenses, left you trembling with his hands, and the worst part is, he was right. Your hands tremble as you press them to your face. You stayed. He didn't push you away, didn't force you, he didn't mock you. He just hugged you. He let you leave on your own terms, and somehow that makes it worse because you didn't leave, not right away. You stayed because some small, treacherous part of you wanted to. Okay, we're on shame. The shame bar's harder now. Twisting your stomach into knots. How can you face him again, knowing he face him again? How can you meet his eyes without hearing his voice, without feeling him hug you? You'll come crawling back for more. You grit your teeth and shove the memory away. You won't give him this avocation. You won't let him win. He just wants to give hugs. Determined to reclaim some control, you push to your feet and leave your room. You'll face him, pretend nothing happened, if you must, but you won't let him see you falter. But the air outside your room feels different, too still, too quiet. He's gone. Relief and disappointment not together in your chest. The contradiction dizzy. You shouldn't feel disappointed, not after what he's done. But the hollow ache lingers away, and you hate yourself for it. Spying them in the corner, you force yourself to approach them. Their expression is calm, unreadable, as always. Where is he? Master Sukuna left to deal with some nuisances. Are you worried about him? Who? I don't believe Master Sukuna, as affairs acquire your involvement. Their calm, matter-of-fact tone makes your chest tighten. You remember the destruction in the villages, the screams, the blood, the merciless ways Sukuna tore through the lives. The images now collide with the new view you have of him. You should write more. Their voice startles you, breaking the silence. Master Sukuna enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I know. He read my diary. Your gaze drops, anger and shame pricking at your skin. And of course he did. So does he want fan fiction about Gojo? Again? Why would I want to please him? They give you a pointed look, their expression calm, but knowing, like they see something you can't. Why are you still here then? They leave without another word, but their question stayed with you, circling in your mind. Return to your room and sit in silence. After a moment, you reach for your diary. Its familiar weight feels grounding in your hands, that does nothing to calm the storm inside you. To stare at the blank page for what feels like an eternity before picking up your brush. If you can't make sense of these feelings, maybe the ink will. Sukuna returns a week later. The sound of the temple gates cracking open makes your breath catch. You could tell yourself it's nothing. You're not waiting for him. But when he steps inside, a spark ignites in your chest. His crimson eyes sweep in the courtyard before laying on you. The brief contact sends a jolt through you, and you quickly look away. Frightened and indifference, still your heart races. His cage carries several baskets in his arms. There are contents hidden beneath tightly woven lids. You try not to think about what's inside, but the pit in your stomach churns anyway. Conflicting emotions twist within you. Relief, dread, and something you can't name. Dinner. Only makes it worse. Yeah. Knowing what he's eating? Probably. You sit across from him. The table pretends doing nothing to lessen his presence. The smell of the stew wafles up, but instead of hunger, it fills you with unease. Yeah, asking what kind of meat he likes. His friends for dinner would be, Alistair and Hannibal. Your eyes flicker in this bowl, then to the low, deliberate way he eats. You can't stop picturing the meat's origin, the screams he tried to forget. The tension builds until it splits out. Why do you keep eating this meat? Your voice is quieter than you intended, but it's out now. He pauses mid-motion, chopsticks hovering, and looks up at you. The air around him feels heavier, each breath harder to take. Are you saying I need to stop? The bluntness of his tone freezes you for a moment, but you press on. It upsets me. It's wrong. What should I do? I'll say upsets me. His eyes narrow slightly, his gaze unreadable. The pause strengthens painfully long until he speaks again. It upsets me because it's high in cholesterol, sir. Why would I care about what you feel? The bluntness of his words cut deep, silencing through the retort you might have had. Your gaze drops to your bowl as you swallow a lump forming in your throat. You shove a piece of food into your mouth, chewing it through it, though it tastes like ash. He really is awful, truly, utterly awful. You should finish quickly and leave. The room falls into tense, suffocating silence, broken only by the occasional clatter of chopsticks and the faint rustle of fabric. The weight of his presence pressed down on you, but you refuse to look up, not until his voice breaks the stillness, calm but lined with something bitter and jagged. When I was taken from the temple by that noble, he didn't want me as a servant. The casualness in his tone doesn't match the undercut of venom beneath it. You glance up, startled by the sudden shift in conversation. He was an entertainer, a collector of curiosities. He puts it on exhibits for the court. Monsters, children, he called us. Okay, if you ate him, I don't blame you. He pauses, his gaze dropping to the bowl in front of him. The steam rises, curling between you like smoke. One day he wanted to know which one of us was stronger. He kept us in cages, no food for days, but he wanted to survive. But if we wanted to survive, we had to kill it and eat each other. Okay, that guy deserves to go to hockey sticks. His chopsticks hovering a piece of meat before he places it in front of his mouth and chews. And I don't blame Sukuna for even in the actual manga. If that happened, if someone did that's worse than a villain. And that's what I did. The casual way he says it makes it makes the heaviness in your chest almost unbearable. Steals the time ability from the Geto one and beats the guy up. Your heart aches in the place on your legs where his mother once gripped your. Gucci seems to burn, as if her touch still lingers, if her promise still weighs on you. I'm sorry. Why? I made a promise to your mother I'll protect you, and I failed. I'm sorry. The words tremble as they leave your lips, raw and heavy, with guilt. Protect me? These scoffs cut through the air, sharp and dismissive, but there's something underneath it, something fleeting, fragile. The flickers and fades fades almost too quickly to catch. You couldn't even protect yourself. What makes you think you had the power to save me? He leans back slightly, his gaze still cold but faltering for the briefest of moments. Spare me your pity. It's too late for that. The silence that follows is suffocating. It continues, eating, his expression unbelievable, and you sit there, the weight of his words pressing down on you. But the question claws its way to the surface, desperate and impossible to suppress. Why do you still keep eating the meat now? His chopsticks pause slowly. He meets your gaze, his crimson eyes catching the dim light, growing faintly, like embers in the dark. It's what monsters do. That's why I am. Okay, that guy deserves to go HR hockey sticks. HL hockey sticks. It's what you decide to be. The statement lingers between you, quiet and cutting. His gaze narrows. The air in the room thickening with unspoken anger. It was decided for me. Now, no, it wasn't. He raises abruptly, towering over you. His sudden movement sends a jolt through your chest, but you force yourself to stay seated. For a moment, you understand why people call him a monster, why they fear him. But that's not what you see. With all the talking you're doing, I suppose you're done eating. Get up, show me that you're written in the past few days. They told me you've been writing. Your heart skips a beat, and you glance towards them, who stands at the side of the room looking faintly amused. Okay. He gestures for you to lead the way, his crimson eyes watching you intensely. You rise slowly, your body stiffened with tension, and walk towards your room. His footsteps are quiet, but purposeful, behind you. The air around him almost suffocating. Sukuna reclines in your futon, his massive frame making the spacious room feel impossibly small. His crimson eyes glint with lazy amusement as he watches you. Read it for me. You hesitate, but eventually obey, your voice trembling slightly as you read aloud. A poem about longing. The boy I once knew, gone, buried beneath power. Still, I see glimpses of shadow beyond your strength. It goes caught within your form. Sukuna listens in silence as you read the poem out loud. For a moment, his expression is unbelievable, the sharpness in his crimson eyes dulling ever so slightly. But the softness doesn't last long. His lips curl into a cruel smile as he leans back, folding his arms. It goes, huh? How polite of you. Do you think I care to be moaned like some tragic relic of your past? He leans forward, his towering presence overwhelming as his crimson eyes bore into yours. If you're hoping to find that boy again, you're more foolish than I thought. If you're just going to keep mocking me, why don't you write about one yourself? Let me see how you fare. He pauses, his crimson gaze fixed on you with an intensity that makes your skin prickle. Just when you start to wonder if he'll dismiss you altogether, he speaks. Prepare the ink. Curiosity flickers in your chest as you gather the materials. When you return, he takes a brush in his large hand, his claws gleaming faintly in the light. Give it to me. The pen or the paper or both? You hesitate, but your fingers tighten around the diary. Reclits flare within you. as he motions for it. But when his eyes narrow, you surrender it. He pulls it from your hands with ease, his movements deliberate. As he flips through the pages, finally he begins to write. The strokes of his brush are bold, precise, and purposeful. When he leans back, he slides a book towards you. You read the haiku and scrunch your nose. Soft hands, cling to life, but they crumble under weight. The strong crave their payoff. This is much better. What is this about? Your eyes snap up to meet his, incredulous. No, it's not. His gaze snaps to yours, his expression hardened. I never got to do that. I never got haikus in English as a kid. You dare defy me. And to be fair, it kind of makes sense because it is a Japanese art form, so it'd make more sense for the writing structure to be in Japanese than English. His the menace in his tone sends a shiver racing in your spine, but you refuse to back down, pulling at the page. You square your shoulders, summoning every ounce of defiance you can muster. Where's the seasonal word? The tension shifts slowly, his lips curve into a pit grin, one that, for the first time, lacks cruelty. Your turn. Write another poem. Your fingers tremble as you take the brush and begin to write. You could feel his eyes on you, their weight unbearable. The tension sears your nerves, every stroke of the brush becoming harder to focus. It feels as though he's undressing you with his gaze, peeling away your composure, layer by layer. At least he's only thinking me like that, and like, well, I'm actually thinking instead of, you know what? He leans over your shoulder, his breath brushing against your neck. You freeze as his low chuckle fills the silence. Or he probably is. Never mind. What's the matter? Can't focus? I'll delegate it to you, then. His words feel like a trap, a taunt you can't escape. Before you could protest, his voice drips lower, rough, yet measured as he speaks the line. As he speaks, his lips brush against the curve of your neck, denying every nerve on your skin, your gas, your breath hitching. Sukuna, no! Keep going, don't stop. Your hands tremble as you write, the brush faltering every word, the breath of his mouth trailing down your shoulder, leaving a path of goosebumps in its wake. Okay, Sukuna, I'm not reading your poem. He called. Okay, you manage to finish the poem. You're breathing hollowed and uneven as he's having fun. Sukuna. The moment his name leaves your lips, he moves. In an instant, he pulls you onto his chest, his lips crushing against yours in a Pharisee that seals your breath away. Steals your breath. Okay, he's kissing me. You feel a hard press. Sukuna strains, adjusting his slash with deliberate ease, expression, one of detached amusement. They will help you with bathing. I don't need... His eyes flash silencing you instantly. Enough. His gaze lingers on you for a moment, sharp and unreadable. Suffocation? Amusement? You can't tell. Then he turns and leaves without another word, his footsteps echoing down the hall. The door slides open, again, moments later, just as you cover yourself. Like I'm trying to go to bed here. They step inside, their expression calm, but their gaze sharp as they swept over you, taking in the aftermath. Their tone quiet, but carries an edge of amusement. I told you liked your writing. You caught your cheeks burn. Heat rising from your face, but does he like me? Does he like me? Question mark. The thought rises unbidden, bidden, sharp and sharp, trying itself to their words in the way you can't shake. The feeling is absurd, pointless even if it digs in, unwelcome and heavy. The question lingers in you, following them out of the room. Your chest tightens with its weight, your thoughts swirling in the chaotic messes. She's affecting him. Yep, he knows it, because you're getting feelings. He knows the moment stray hakus begin forming in his mind during training. He imagines her reaction, her scowl, the way her brows draw together. It's the human part of him rising. He rises, calling its way to the surface because of her presence. Then there's the urge to rush things. It simmers beneath the surface. He taps all these feelings down with ease. Power is just about taking. It isn't just about taking, it's about waiting, savoring the moment before you strike. And it's not just if she does it. It's not fun if she doesn't come willingly. So he withdraws. He tells her to keep writing, to pour her thoughts into the little diary of hers. He never reads it. He doesn't need to. It's enough to see her face every day, her cautious glances, the flicker of anticipation in her eyes when she thinks he might ask for it. It's amusing. When she finally realizes that what he is, the monster she pretends not to see, and decides to leave, he might almost miss her. Almost? Or do you mean actually miss me? Because you're getting feelings, sir. The thought scrapes against his patience, sharp and unwelcome. He shifts at his focus to practical matters. Their provisions are running low. He'll need to make a trip to a nearby village for more meat. The meat for you, or the normal meat for everyone else? Thinking about it grates on him. How inconvenient, how annoying. Just goes to the grocery shopping. Get some meat from the cow, like ham and pork and ham pork, pigs, hamburger meat. It just has a store cork on his shoulder for him. The days go shorter. The air colder. Sukuna orders you to keep writing, his tone casual, as if he were asking for a drink. He never asked to see what you're written. The silence between you stretches, taut and brimming with unspoken tension, like a storm hovering just out of reach. Neither of you move to break it, is both unwilling to surrender whatever unspoken vow is taking place. What confuses you most is how Sukuna barely acts like the monster he chose to be anymore. He doesn't push you the way he did when you first arrived. It's like you're just living together now, two people bonded by a strange shared existence. Frustrated, you turn to them one afternoon. Because I can't pronounce their name. Does he even know what he wants from you? They turn to you, their expression neutral, but tinged with the faintest trace of exasperation. You need to go to him on your own accord. The words hang in the air, cutting through the quiet. You let out a huff. So he just wants to humiliate me again. And no, I think he actually gave feelings. Or the case of the feelings, their silence is damping. Instead of answering, they glance towards the horse, deflecting the conversation. We'll have to go hunting for more boar meat soon. You frown, caught off guard by the abrupt change in subject. More? Don't we have enough? They pause, their expression unreadable, their gaze flickering briefly before meeting you again. Master Sukuna is less inclined to eat human meat these days. He's definitely has some feelings now. You blink, a flicker of hope stringing in your chest. Did your words finally reach him? Did he change just a little for your sake? Before you could voice thoughts, they churn and walk away, leaving you alone with your unanswered questions. Dinner feels strangely quiet tonight. For the first time, you glance at Sukuna's plate. He doesn't feel the usual disgust churning in your stomach. Something about the absence of human meat eases the tension in your chest. A fleeting relief that surprises even you, a faint, involuntary smile flickering across your lips. Shuka's voice cuts through the stillness, low and sharp. Why are you smiling? Nothing. He doesn't look convinced. His piercing glaze lingering for a beat longer before shifting back to his meal. The silence barely has a chance to settle down before they speak, their tone calm but pointed. There was a shoujo informant in the village today. Your chopsticks pause midair, your stomach twisting. The Fujiwara clan. The one who had commissioned you to exercise the curse ravaging the villages, the curse that turned out to be Sukuna. Even now, they're still after him. Sukuna leans back, his posture is deceptively relaxed, though his eyes gleam with predatory edge. I thought they learned their lesson after the Abe clan. They're angels. I guess not, and they're angels, I guess not. Their informant was too close for comfort. What if they decide to attack the temple? Their words hang heavy in the air, like a blade waiting to drop. The weight of their implication curls around your chest, squeezing you tight. You glance up and immediately regret it. Both of them are looking at you now. What? They don't flinch as they deliver their next words, brute and cold. As Master Sukuna's pet, you're a liability. Your chest tightens, heat rushing your face as the insult settles in. Excuse me? Sukuna sighs deeply, dragging a hand down its face as though their comment has inconvenienced him. Hey, but their gaze remains steady, unapologetic, and the damage is already done. You rise sharply from the table. So I'm just a pet for you? Sukuna drops his hand, leaving you with a stare, his eyes gleaming with quiet mince, and his lips curl into a mocking smirk. If you're not my pet, then what are you? You can't possibly think you're worth something. Well, Sukuna, I could try to explain stuff to you, but yeah, don't want to get killed and eaten. Your words, his words slice through you, cruel and dismissive, the sharp edge of his mocking cutting deeper than you expected. The heat in your chest shifts, no longer was just anger, but something far more complicated. Hurt. I'm a hostage? You're awful. What am I gonna go with? I'm a hostage? Sukuna raises his eyebrow, his smirk dipping as though you're just proving his point. Do I need to remind you that you're free to leave at any time? You choose to stay with a monster, don't expect anything else. Your hands clench into fist, his words twisting in your chest. You turn abruptly, storming out of the room. As you pass through the doorway, Sukuna's voice follows you, calm and indifferent. Let her go. You rush through the corridors, your step echoing against the wooden floors until you reach the courtyard. Without hesitation, you leap into the air, letting the wind wrap around you, carrying you upward. The current swirled, brushing against your skin. Cool and freeing. For a moment, you let yourself sink into the sensation of being weightless. Up here, far above it all, you can pretend none of it matters. The village, them, him. But the lie doesn't hold. Even with the wind in your back and the sky beneath your feet, you can't escape the pull he has on you. The crushing circles like a storm. Clouds in your mind. Why do I stay? Is it a desire for him? The one everyone fears, but who makes your heart race in ways you don't understand? Totally. Is it the abiding vow that, even though unbroken, still pulls at you? Or is it something else? The sky shifts and the sun drips lower, painting the horizon in a shade of gold and crimson. You remain there until the light fades, the evening air growing cooler against your skin. And yet, no matter how high you rise, you can't shake the weight in your chest. The next morning, you're awake, shivering, your body feeling heavy, your skin hot to touch. Even with the blankets pulled tightly around you, the chill sleeps in. At some point, you barely register them entering your room with a breakfast tray, before sleep pulls you under again. When you wake up next, they're kneeling beside you, their hands pressed lightly against your forehead. The touch is cold, grounding, but it startles you. You weakly push their hand away. Leave me alone. Your voice is rough, strained, even the words scratch at your throat. You have a fever. You groan softly, turning your head towards the wall. The wind, yesterday, flying so long without thinking. Of course, you had to catch up to you. But it doesn't feel that bad. You're used to it. It's nothing to worry about. I'm fine. Rest. You should feel better soon. Their tone is calm, and there's a faint hint of something else. Concern. You watch, puzzled, as they raise smoothly and leave the room without another word. The quiet settles in again. The exhaustion pulls you back under. You close your eyes, the heat of the fever drawing you into restless sleep. Sukuna watches as they step out of your room, sliding the door shut behind them. Their expression, usually stoic, is tainted with something faintly unusual. What's the matter? Is she throwing a fit? The words are sharp, biting, though the annoyance is in his tone runs deeper. He has been waiting for her to come to him, to give in, to willingly cross the distance between them and admit he already knows she feels the pull towards him, the need. But they had ruined it. His plan to make her crawl is delayed, and he doesn't know what grates him more, the interruption or the fact that he finds himself caring about the weight. It seems she's ill, master. Shuka's eyes narrow, the words catching him off guard. Ill? His gaze flickered towards the closed door, irritation. sparking in his chest. What a nuisance. How can someone be so fragile? They hesitate before speaking, their tone careful. I can't heal her. I can't heal her myself. We don't have the necessary medicine here. I'm afraid she might. Their words trail off, but they don't need to finish. Shuka's eyes immediately snap back to the door, his jaw tightening. A sudden sharp feeling, something he refused to name, rises within him, and he stomps it down, just as quickly. Why should he care if she lives or dies? His mind latches onto the justification. She's been entertaining, that's all. And then, why does the idea of her absence feel like a stone watch in his chest? I'll take care of it. They nod, stepping aside without word. He exhales sharply, dragging a clawed hand through his hair. As he approaches the door, he slides it open without hesitation. The sight inside makes him pause. She's curled up in the futon, her small form trembling beneath the blanket. Her cheeks are flushed with a fever and soft. Incoherent murmurs escape her lips as she twists weakly in her sleep. Pathetic, utterly pathetic. And yet he feels feet move forward almost on their own. Memories stir, unbidden and unwind. A bitterly cold winter, the age of freezing the nights when survival felt like a cruel joke. He remembers her, smaller than, using her wind to warm the both of them as they huddled together. How she clenched her teeth and stayed awake for hours, shaking from the strain, refusing to let him suffer alone. Shuka's eyes tighten, his lips pulling into a scowl. He lowers himself to the ground and leans over. For a moment he hovers, debating, but then he scoops her up effortlessly. Her body is limp, light in his arms, her head lolling against his chest. She mumbles something incoherent, her breath warm against his skin, but she doesn't wake. Carefully, he lowers himself onto the futon, keeping her coiled against him. Heat radiates from his body, like a barrier, sullying her shivers. Reserve curse energy flowing from a fleeting touch that repairs the little damage there is. They were dramatic. There was hardly anything to heal. Her trembling subsides. He stares at the ceiling, his face expressionless, though his mind churns. He should leave. And yet he doesn't. He imagines her reaction when she wakes, the horror, the humiliation, the thought tugs faintly in his lips. No, he'll wait just a little longer. The world is on fire, flames raging uncontrollably, devouring everything in their path. Shuka stands in the center of it all, destruction incarnate, his laughter echoing through the chaos as the sorcerers throw themselves at him, only to perish, one after another. Each attack is futile, but as one falls, another rises to take their place, all of them united by a single purpose to bring him down. And finally they do. You see it, his exorcism, the moment he's done, killed like a curse. You wake up with a clasp, your chest heaving, the vision lingering in your mind, like smoke, choking and vivid. Everything is warm, so warm you try to move, to pull away from the heat, but arms hold you still, strong and unwielding. Oh, yeah, Sukuna, still there. Calm down. The voice, rubbing low, steady, and commanding, shivering, sending a shock through your system. Like static shock. Your eyes fly open, and you twist, your movements sluggish and weak, to find him there. What are you doing here? You shove against his chest, but your strength falters. Sukuna remains there where he is, his voice loose around you, but unmoving, as if humoring your attempt to free yourself. He doesn't stop you when you finally wiggle out of his hold. You stammer back, almost falling to the floor as he leans back, lazily in your futon, taking up all the space as if he were the rightful throne. It was his rightful throne. You have a fever. I healed you. You owe me. You stare at him, your breathing still uneven, as the dream flashes through your eyes, the fire, his laughter, his fall. I dreamed about your death. The words slipped out, soft and trembling. Sukuna raises an eyebrow, faint in amusement, flickering across his features. If you continue on this path, it would lead to your ruin. Your voice is quieter now, but the weight of the dream presses against you, heavy and unwilting. And you believe that's an omen? He chuckles and is sharp, almost dismissive, but there's something in the way his eyes linger on you as if he's testing your resolve. It felt real. I would have known. I've made my choice. His voice is steady, resolute, as if the words were carved in stone. If I were to lose, I accept it and move on. But until then, this is the path I'll walk. It's too late to turn back now. He pauses, his gaze never leaving yours. I won't change. Not even for you. The honesty in his voice is like a blade. It cuts through silence, leaving behind a truth you can't deny. He's chosen his path, once paved against destruction, blood, and ruin. And now the choice is yours. Will you follow him into the abyss? Yes! You lower your gaze, your fist curling tightly at your sides. The thought of leaving tugs the edges of your mind, but you know you can't. All that's left is to try to understand him, this man who's both familiar and foreign, whose actions seem to contract the monster he comes to be. Why did you heal me? I was doing just fine. A dead pet is no use to me. Stop calling me that. The words leave your lips before you could think, but the sharpest U-tin doesn't land. His smirk only deepens, his gaze trailing over you in a way that makes your skin prickle. What do you want me to call you then? Lover. Your breath hitches audibly, your heart stuttering in your chest. He hears it. Of course, he hears it. His laughter is low, rich, and infuriating, confident. Fairly confident. It's like, yes? You're so easy to read. Get out. I will call you that word. If you prove to me that's what you want. His voice is impossibly soft, a velvet thread wrapped in steel. Not with your poems, not with your silence. He leans forward slightly, enough for the heat of his body to brush against yours. Show me. The space between yours feels suffocating. You freeze, caught in his gaze. Every nerve in your body screams at this closeness. Your breath quickens and your eyes flicker in his lips, then away, and then away. Okay, so he doesn't move. He's waiting for you to make the first move, to come to him willingly, and you hate him for that. You hate the way he's stripped away every defense you have. Left you raw and exposed, until there's nothing left but the truth that you don't want to face. That you like him, and he likes you. The fingers stretching your side, hesitant and uncertain. The silence stretching unbearably. The tension thick enough to suffocate you. And yet, you know, the only way to end it is to move. All you do. Your hand brushes his knee, intensely and trembling, and even the small contact feels like a spark igniting something deep within you. His gaze sharp, his lips churning, curling into a faint, knowing smile. Go on. Fine, you want me to show you? Then I will. Defiance in your voice surprised even you as you hands slide all higher. Wait, what? Tracing the lines of his tattoos, the heat of his skin simmering beneath your palms. You shift closer, your knees pressing against the futon. Your hands find his chest, tracing the lines of the tattoos, the heat of the skin searing beneath your palms. I love that line right there. Still, he doesn't touch you. He watches, expression unreadable, but his eyes never leaving you. You lean in, close his distance, and press your lips against his. The kiss is hesitant at first, testing, but when his mouth moves against yours, the fierce and demanding, the last of your hesitation crumbles. You don't know if it's anger or longing, and then you close the distance and feel him. Feel his lips on yours. Good girl. For the first time, Sukuna moves. Okay, so because of that, you won all on. The seasons change. Sukuna doesn't. He's still the same. The force of destruction, tearing down villages that freeze to bow to him. You can't change that. That's just him. He does himself. Does what he wants. But sometimes, just sometimes, you catch glimpses of the boy you once knew. The boy who helped you steal rice from the temple kitchens, grinning when you both escaped without being caught. He's still there, hidden beneath the layers of cruelty and bloodshed, surfacing in rare moments when you think you aren't looking. You write poetry together. Sukuna never talks about feelings, but his words betray him. Though through his writing, you feel the weight of emotions he never say aloud. His touch, too, speaks volumes in its silence. Gentle when it doesn't have to be, lingering longer than he ever meant. The dreams of Immerse stop. The echoes of her desperation, the desperate plea, the promise you made, fades from your mind. You no longer see the disaster you thought would claim you. Maybe, just maybe, you averted it. Maybe being by Sukuna's side has rewritten your fate. The three of you walk back from a hunt. One cold evening, the air bites your skin. The sky above is dull and gray, heavy with snow that friends of fall. As you approach the temple, wind shifts. A soft, playful breeze brushes against your ear, carrying an almost inaudible whisper. Go ahead. Stay. You glance at Sukuna, who's helping them carry the grain you hunted. You wanted to stay put, but the wind pulls at you, playful yet firm, brushing against your skin like an insistent nudge. For a moment you hesitate, your glaze linger on him, then you raise a hand and wave, offering a small smile. He looks at you, his crimson eyes narrowing slightly. Before lifting a hand in return, the wave is stiff, almost awkward, but it's there. With a sharp inhale, you turn and step across the threshold of the temple, the breeze falling close behind. He senses it too late. A shift in the air, sharp and wrong, but it comes a second too late. His crimson eyes snap up, his gaze locking onto your retreating form as she disappears into the temple. No! The explosion whips through the air, deafening and blinding. The temple explodes in a flash of cursed energy, collapsing in on itself and disintegrating into nothing. The force sends dust and debris tearing for the air, but Sukuna doesn't feel it. His body's frozen, his mind blank as the scene unfolds. Did I just die? When the smoke clears, the ruins are silent. Empty. You can't feel her anymore. No heartbeat, no curse energy, no whisper of her presence on the mind. Nothing. There's nothing left, nothing to fix, nothing to bring back. His jaw clenches, his teeth grinding audibly, his claw flexed, curling in a fist at his sides. The air around him crackles with energy, curse energy, wind and suffocating. Master. Their voice is soft, uncertain, their usual composure slipping, but Sukuna doesn't look at them. The last human part of him is gone. The last warmth he didn't realize he still carried. The last piece of him that wasn't a monster. And isn't this what he wanted? Was this the plan? His plan wasn't this the plan all along, to sever that tie, destroy the part of him that still clung to something human? The thought churns in his mind, a bitter, suffocating weight. But there's a movement. A group of sorcerers step out behind the temple's ruins, their curse energy flaring like fireflies against the darkness. Ryomen Sukuna. He silenced them in a heartbeat. There's no hesitation, no mercy. Their bodies fall into silence, broken before they could even realize what's happened. More coming. The Fujiwara clan feels them swarming in the distance, their curse energy flickering weakly, insignificant, like insects. His lips pull back in a snarl, barreling sharp teeth. He'll shield them, the monster they expect. No, he'll be worse. Much worse. His hands raise slowly, deriblet. Their air around him trembling under the sheer weight of his curse energy. Domain expansion. The words reverberate like a death knell, low and final. Malevolent shrine. Sukuna closes the book in his hands, the weight of its cover, the delicate scroll, verses inside. It means nothing to him. Poetry it hasn't made him feel anything in a long time. Not since she died. He made sure there wasn't anything left to feel. He submerged himself in it in hatred, in malice, and curse energy that so pure and vile that it drawn the lingering remnants of her warmth. He took baths in it over and over until every shred of humanity she left behind was scorched away. Now, even the wind brushing against his skin barely reminds him of her. The boy she once knew is long gone. The world bows to him now, not a monster but as a god. People pray to him with desperate, pleading eyes, offering tributes to his strength, hoping to avoid his wrath. It's pathetic. Strength, that's all it ever took to change their tune. The same insects who once cursed him now worship him, spineless, every last one of them. His gaze drifts down to the book in his hands. He doesn't know why he's still holding onto it. With a flicker of his wrist, he tosses it to the ground and besides him. He needs to find a new way to pass the time till death. They entered the room, the familiar presence barely registering in his mind. Behind them, a man, with the stitches across his forehead, steps forward. So have you thought about my proposal? His tone measured, careful, but as it should be. The proposal, to become a curse, to transcend the boundaries of mortality and is sure his existence would never end, to be reincarnated into another era far from this one. This era holds nothing for him anymore. He leans back, his gaze drifting to the empty horizon outside the temple window. The seasons have long since turned, but they all look the same to him now, meaningless. Reincarnation, many fools believe in it. And he doesn't? Why? Would she have been reincarnated, pulled back into the wheel of life in some other form, in some other time? Would he even care when he became a curse? No, he wouldn't. Fine. Yeah, definitely won't. Sukuna's crimson eyes slide to the man for the first time, bored and indifferent. Start the preparations. The man grins faintly, his hands folding together as if sealing a bargain. They watch silently from the side, their expression unreadable, though their gaze lingering on Sukuna for a moment too long. Sukuna leans forward, resting his arms on his knees, his hands curling into a loose fist. The part of him that once would have cared is already gone. 1,000 years later, Sukuna finally knows what death is, what defeat is. After a long time, the weight of immortality is gone, and the endless fight is over. Like he told her so many years ago, he'll change his path if this day ever came. And so he falls north with them, walking through the endless darkness, leaving behind the ruins of his past existence. The path stretches ahead, endless and silent, but Sukuna isn't burdened by it. The weight of his life, the blood, the destruction, the weight of the empty victories feels lighter now. Okay, so this is after Jujutsu Kaisen, so I should probably put the spoilers in here. He glances at them, their presence steady and familiar beside him, his arm resting across their shoulder, their step synchronized in the void. Do you think she'll be happy if she saw us now? His voice is quieter than usual, the question laced with something almost uncertain. They look at him, their expression calm but thoughtful. I think you should ask her yourself. Sukuna freezes mid-step. Slowly, he looks ahead. There, waiting near the building, blinding light in the distance, stands a figure. His breath catches an unfamiliar H booming in his chest. She looks the same as she did 1,000 years ago, untouched by the weight of time. He steps forward, pulling towards her irresistible. So, did the path you took give you what you hoped for? Her voice reaches him clearly, soft but firm, cutting through the vast silence. Sukuna walks closer, his crimson eyes fixed on her. That H glows sharper, twisting into something unnameable. Did you wait until all these years just to say I told you so? His lips curl into a faint smile, his gaze warm but waving. Yes. He steps in front of her, closer now, close enough to touch. Are you happy now? Her smile widens, and she steps forward, crossing the distance between them. Her hands lift to rest lightly on his chest, grounding him, and something inside him cracks open. Yes. For a moment, he allows himself to indulge indulgence of allows himself to hold her. His arms wrapped around her, firm but tentative, as if he's afraid she might slip away. The H fades, replaced by something gentler. Something hasn't felt in longer than he can remember. They cleared their throat behind him, their tone durably pointed. Now what? She glances at them, then back at Sukuna. Her expression softens, full of hope. Now we start in our life and hope hope the universe is kind enough to keep us together this time. Sukuna pulls back slightly, his gaze searching hers. He was never one to hope. He was never one to believe in anything other than his strength. But now he hopes she's right. It will be. His voice is steady, final, as though daring the universe to defy him. He reaches out, taking her hand in one of his, and their hand in the other, with a calm certainty. He turns north, toward the light. Let's go. The end. The tab comes out of the TV, you grab it. Okay, give it someone. Okay, we go up. I don't really have to say anything. So that was our Sukuna Dansem, Beauty in the Beast. If you like my content, please subscribe my video, help out, and comment down below. See you guys next time. Please check these games out. They're absolutely amazing.